You ever install a basement or a room where they've took out an existing wall and you're just not happy with the way it turned out and you want a better way to work around the columns and poles in it? If you do, well, I'm going to show you. Coming up. Hi, my name is Ruben, and if this is the first time meeting, on this channel we make all kinds of how-to videos showing you how to get professional results out of multiple types of flooring. So if this kind of thing interests you, hit the subscribe button. So if you'll notice right here around the space between the tack strip and the actual pole itself is approximately a 1/4 inch. I like to keep stuff like this around pipes and stuff really nice and tight. It just gives it such a better, cleaner look. So, and as far as cutting the angles on the corners, that is to prevent big, let's say if that was straight off right here, look right here, if that was straight off coming right up through there, we'd have a big void right here. Even though these corners would be touching, we'd have a big void right here. And if you are installing a commercial carpet or an indoor-outdoor carpet in someone's basement, there's a good chance that over time, between this point and this point, there's going to dip down because there's just too much of a void there. So again, anytime I'm cutting around pipes or anything like that, I always try to keep my tack strip halfway close together this direction and halfway close to the pipe. It just makes for a better, long-lasting look. Okay, so what I have drawn out here on the board is the diagram of the room, and this video is actually for a gentleman that has a job coming up this week and he wasn't sure what to do here. He said the pole right here was about in the dead center of the room. So this is how we're going to explain it. He was asking if a person could make the cut and then put the same cut back together, would it be good enough? Absolutely. We're going to act like that we are running the carpet this direction. So the nap would be laying down that way. So what I would suggest for something like this, what I would do is I would take and I would first measure over from my existing wall here, measure over to the center of the pole is what I would do. Okay, now with that being said, we got about 69 inches to the center of our pole right there. Now that we got that measured, I want to take my carpet and row cut it 69 inches from this wall over here, and I'm going to row cut it right up through there, and that's where I'm going to put my seam, okay? Technically, if this pole, if the room went on over this way further and the pole was a couple feet from the edge or something like that, sure, I would split it and put me a seam crossways right here if it was a couple feet. But since it is just about in the center of the room, we are going to run a row with it and put our seam right up through there. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and make my row cut, and as always I am using my 2 Orcon row finders, a fat one and a skinny one. So I always like to use both row finders. One of them is to find the row really good, the skinny one, and the second one is to open the row up really well for my row cutter. That just makes it better, and I got a brand new blade. There we go. Now this is cut, and it's going to go right around the pole and wrap right back together. Just like so, and you'll never even know that cut was there because it is a row cut. And however, I would more than likely cut this in the room, because most of the time if you're in a room with columns or something, or in a basement, you got to go down steps to get to it. However, sometimes there are big openings at the back door to where you can get in the basement from an outside access, so you don't have to do it. But if you row cut this right here and then you roll your carpet up and bend it to take it down the steps, these 2 row cut sides here and here where they join back together right there are going to be scrunching up against one another like that whenever you break it and bend it in the house. So that's just going to mess your seam edge all up. So if you cannot get in the room without bending it, I would highly recommend taking it down here and just rolling it out in this area right here, making your row cut, and then sliding the carpet up this direction until you get here, and you're all good, okay? Otherwise, like I said, you're just going to scrunch this all up and mess your seam up trying to get it into the house. So this is our row cut piece. I'm going to take and just backspin it out, and rather than just going on around like so and putting a whole bunch of stress on these cuts, I'm just going to kind of work it around and cut it down to relieve the pressure as it goes all the way around, okay? This has to be really nice and flat all the way around through there for that to meet up right again, okay? You don't want to overly cut it and have your cut marks come a ½ inch out or something like that, because when you stretch, you definitely want these cuts as close to the pipe as possible. That way when you stretch, you don't pull even bigger gaps, okay? So as you can see how we got that cut and laid around through there. And I'm just going to do the same thing. Work this one right around. Okay, so I want to do this the exact same way. I'm just pushing up to the pipe right there and going right directly to the pipe and pushing it, cutting, making a cut back. Now again, this part right here is going to be seamed together. So I want to take and make sure that this part especially is going to set nice and flat. Okay, and I think we got that. So we're about a ½ inch from the edge here, from the seam edge to my first cut. And over here we are about the same thing. So we'll pull this part right here and see. Okay, so now we have it wrapped around the pole. We want to check and make sure that it don't need any further adjustments. And we can do that simply by pulling the nap back and looking at it right there. And that looks like it's going to be absolutely perfect. So if that was twisted or not together good, we would want to make some more release cuts around our pole. Right in around through here somewhere. So we would definitely want to make sure that everything is laying nice and flat all the way around our pole. Once we get that done, we can go ahead and put our seam back together. So I want to just go ahead and take my seaming tape, push it all the way. I'm going to fold this back and put my knee on it to hold it back out of the way, and then push that all the way to the pipe there and naturally center it up. Let's put this bad boy back together. And if you follow my channel, you'll probably know that I used to use an orcon cool top. However, the heater went out on me when I was in the middle of a job one day, and it happened to be on a Sunday or a late afternoon Saturday, I can't remember. However, the supply warehouse was not open, so I had to finish the job. So I just went to Home Depot and I bought this Roberts seaming iron to get the job done, and I've just kind of stuck with it. My other one was sent off to the manufacturer, however, I never received it, and I ended up moving away from Tucson. So I'll probably never see that iron back, but okay, this Roberts has actually not been too bad. Okay, first thing is to get that set right up against the pole there. Tap it in. When you see your seam start to peak right here, it means it's all the way together. Watch out. Right.
Okay. So I don't know if you can see this moving or not, but I got my peak going on there, so I know that it is together nicely. I'm going to go ahead and finish rolling it and let it cool there. Okay, so now that we got all of that done, it's time to stretch it in. And we don't want to tie this off or anything anywhere around the pole. We want to leave it just loosed up, just like we did when we finished seaming. So this is dead center in the room, so it's not going to matter as far as our stretching anywhere, whether we start over here, over here, over here, over here. It don't matter where we start because it's in the center. It's going to have the same effect no matter where we start stretching. So we're going to look at where our doorways are and stuff like that, and that's going to determine where we start stretching. And again, we're going to leave this all loose just like we left it when we got done seaming. So we're just going to start right down here. We're going to tie this wall off here and put our tailpiece about 3 foot from the end and get us a stretch here. Then we'll kick our tailpiece back over to this corner and get us a stretch up this way. That has pulled this both ways. Now, with that being said, we don't want this to move no more than it has to around this pole right here in the center, okay? So we don't want to trim and tuck this into this wall right here with a pucker right on this back wall, okay? We want to make sure all this is laid flat. So we're going to take and kick it back this direction right here, and you don't have to kick it hard, just bump it back and make sure that it's tied off nice and flat whenever we get to that point, okay? We don't, like I said, we don't want to pucker, because if we got a pucker right here on this back wall, then that's got to pull up this way, which is going to ultimately cause this side of the pole right here to pull off and come up this way more, okay? And we don't want that. We want to keep this as tight as possible around the pole, okay? So now with that in mind, let's see if I can get that off of there. With that in mind, we got this all tied off. Now we're going to start right here and work our way. Let me get this, I'll use this right here, and it'll be a little bit different color there and help it easier to follow. So with that in mind, we're going to start right here, stretch over at an angle that way, kick back that direction, and then just keep on. We might have to break our stretchers apart to get around that pole right there. I'm sure we will. And continue to work at an angle toward this corner, okay? Once that's done, we're going to bump this all back here, make sure there's no puckers in this as well, and finish stretching at an angle this direction, okay? And that'll have everything tied off securely. That will give us a nice tightly stretched room, and this right here around our pole will still be nice and tight. It won't be pulling off or anything like that. Then once the room is completely done, then we can go back and trim and tuck around the pole. So the final step is to trim and tuck around our pole, and what we want to do is just fold this back and cut this in really nice and close right up next to the pole as much as possible. You don't necessarily have to worry about kicking it up or anything like that, and I'm going to show you why here in just a second. So if you see right there, I'm just pulling it back, and we'll take my carpet knife and cut that off right there, okay? This is actually right here where my seam is right there. So I'm just going to continue to work my way on around the pole, cutting it down. It's raining here. I hope that is not too loud. Means it's on a metal roof there. Okay, so what I said a while ago, it don't matter if we kick this up around the pipe or not, because this is the reason this is how you can prevent it from puckering up or anything like that when you tuck it. So as you've seen, we cut it really nice and close, so we don't have a whole lot of excess carpet there. So in order to keep that from puckering up backwards when we push that down in the crevice there or in the gully, I do this on all my walls and everything. I hold my hand right there on the tack strip, and as I push it in, that actually causes it to get a lock on the tacks itself rather than puckering up backwards this direction, okay? So I'm just going to work my way right on around the pipe there. And since I did get my tack strip nice and close, look at that finished edge right there. That is a beautiful finish. So as you can see, we got it finished off here all beautifully, and our seam, which is right down through here, you can absolutely see zero visibility, okay? So that's the reason why I chose to run it with the carpet and row cut my seam rather than going across, okay? If you like this video and it was helpful for you, smash that like button. If you have any recommendations or any topics that you would like covered, feel free to leave a question or a comment below in the comment section. So as you guys can see, I'm still using the Robert Seaman iron that I got at just your typical Home Depot store, and it's been a pretty good iron. I can't really say nothing about it, but anyway, I am looking to get another one in the near future. So if you guys would leave a comment below, which iron are you happy with? Which one serves you the best? Leave a comment below and tell me what you think. Thank you guys. FBSB is out.